Hello, welcome to Human Tech, a podcast about the intersection between humans and technology. My name is Guthrie. I am here with Susan. Hi, Susan.
My name is Susan.
Your name is Susan. That's what it says on your birth certificate. So today's topic is one that I actually know very little about because I've never done, I've done a lot of UX consulting.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Yeah.
But I haven't done sort of not nearly as much of the day-to-day, in-the-weeds UX work as you have. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, and I think, you've done some UX research. You haven't done as much upfront user research as I have, perhaps.
So today's topic is all about journey mapping, and
journey mapping.
It's really, I couldn't think of a worse podcast topic because it's 100% visual.
Very visual.
There is no
there are things you can talk
auditory
about.
component. It's literally making a chart you look at with your eyes. So this one will be great.
We like challenges.
Yeah, no, we can. There's a lot we can talk about with journey mapping, but it is true that for any of you who have never heard of a journey map, if you just see a picture of one, all of this will make a lot more sense. Do you think that's also fair?
I don't know. That maybe, but maybe not, because we can talk about some of the problems with the visual aspects of journey maps.
Okay, well then
it's very possible to look at a journey map and not have any idea what you're looking at.
Okay, so then let's start out with what, in a broad sense, what is a journey map and what is it for?
Yeah, so a journey map is a great tool to use when you're trying to document. You want to document what are the steps or stages that someone goes through when they're either interacting with your product, or a lot of times journey maps are done with services, not just products. So, for example, what is it like if someone is going to sign up for your conference, and they need to sign up for the conference, but they need to get approval, and they need to decide whether they're going to do workshops, and then they need to arrive at the conference, and did they pre-register, and all of that, right? You might do a journey map to document what is this entire process like. What steps do people have to go through? Who do they interact with while they're doing it? What things do they have to have in order to successfully get it done? And where are the problems in this journey, right? So you're mapping out their journey to do this thing that they're trying to do. You're noting all the ways that they are interacting with you or interacting with others. And then you're finding where are the problems. And maybe you want to change the process that people have to go through to make it easier to make the problems go away.
Yeah,
so
it's very straightforward if you think about it.
Yeah. It's
mapping the journey.
The journey. Now, Guthrie, I don't know if you remember when we were at Midwest UX. You remember when we were at Midwest UX, because it wasn't that long ago.
Yeah, if I didn't remember, I would have some sort of terrible memory loss.
Do you remember? Now, I want to make sure I'm crediting the right people here. So, hold on. Let me look this up. I should have done this before we got on. Yeah. Do you remember when Dana Chisnell gave her keynote talk?
On voting.
Do you remember that? On voting.
Yep.
And
of course I remember.
Guess what?
It was very good.
That was a journey map.
Yes, I know.
So you have a little bit of familiarity with this.
Well, I'm just saying I know what a journey map. I'm not starting from.
Yeah. Okay.
It's just that I have never in the wild had a client be like, or
let's do a
no,
journey map.
almost like a final, in my UX 104. Which is not a real class that exists, but it's just like, all right, so for your midterm today, here's the case study, and you're creating a journey map.
Okay, well, you know what? It's too bad that you're down in Chicago, because tomorrow, up here in Wisconsin, my students in one of the classes I teach at University of Wisconsin are going to create a journey map.
Well, that's so funny that you brought it up then. Is she, Susan always gives me a big long list of topics, and out of just all the topics, I was like, journey maps. Sounds good.
That's true. I gave you a list of like 20 things, and you picked this one, and we're doing it tomorrow.
What is this map? Or sorry, what's the map? What's the name of the class?
This class I'm talking about, I named it. It's an elective. It's technically 346 Advanced Concepts in User Experience.
Great.
But
that's a great name. No, that's fine. You don't need to say anything else about it.
No. But this particular one is called the UX Toolbox, and so we've been learning about all the different tools that a UX person might use, either during design or for user research up front or for user research afterwards. It's been actually, I don't know if the students love it. They seem to enjoy it. I have really loved teaching this one because we did, card sorting and remote user testing and in-person user testing and heuristic evaluation and all this stuff. So anyway, one of the things that we're doing tomorrow is a journey map. Anyway, back to Dana. She did this great map, and hers was a little different than some other ones we'll talk about. What I really liked about hers was the first thing she did was she mapped out what the state of California thinks people are doing when they're preparing and then voting.
Yeah.
And, they think it's step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. The first thing someone does, what was it she said? The first thing someone does is, the first thing that happens is they notice that the election has been announced, and then they register to vote and so on. And so first she mapped out what the state thinks people do, and then she went and mapped out what really happens. And she actually did this with 2 groups. One she called, I think, the privileged group. These are people, who have live in one place and can easily get to a polling place and that kind of thing. And the other one she called, what did she call the other one? The burdened process. If you don't have a stable place to live and you don't have good transportation and so on. Anyway, I thought she just gave such a wonderful presentation. And if you guys don't know about this, you can contact Dina. Or actually, I believe she has. She might have a slide share on it. I think she might. Anyway, check that out. But that's one example. Here's another example. This is an example I use a lot when I'm teaching about journey maps. There was a hospital that did MRIs. You need to get scanned because you have a medical problem. But this was a pediatric unit, and what was happening was they noticed, the reason they wanted to do the journey map is they noticed that the children that had to go through this, it was stressful for them, and they wanted to map out what was going on and what they might change. And I want to use that one as an example because I think it's a really, it's just a good example. It's very straightforward. So what they first did was they mapped out the process. Step number 1 was they mapped out the process. And by the way, to do this, when I go to my class tomorrow, I bought this, it's like a roll of newsprint. It's like 3 feet wide or long, 3 feet wide. And then it's a huge roll. I don't know what it is, 50 feet, 100 feet. And we will roll out a big piece of this and cut it. And I'm going to have 7 teams. And I'm very lucky because the room I teach in at UW is in this kind of weird warren or maze of hallways. And there are tons of blank walls all around us outside of our classroom, like just hallways with blank walls. And also I'm lucky because this particular class starts at 4 p.m. and by then everyone's gone and there's no other classes. So we're going to take over the entire wing, and we're going to have these gigantic pieces of paper, 3 feet by probably 10 feet. I'm going to have 7 teams. Each is going to have their own piece of paper working on this. So typically when you do journey maps like this, you need to do you want a big whiteboard or a big piece of paper because you're going to be collaborating with a team. Now, we're not going to do this one I'm describing to you because when you're doing a journey map, you need to have with you people who know about the process and preferably, a person has gone through the process, the customer, the user. We don't have that for the pediatric example I'm giving you. So my students have they each had to come up with 2 ideas, and then they'll decide in their teams which one to use. But they had to come up with an idea that either they could be the customer or they know that, it's something really common, like, signing up for classes, planning the things they sent in were like signing up for classes, planning a trip for spring break. What else did they have? They just had all kinds of, planning. One student who is having a big snafu with his visa. He's studying abroad and he's trying to get a visa and he's having real problems with it and he has to drive down to Chicago. So he suggested that they do a journey map on the process for applying for a visa. Anyway, the one I want to walk you through, sorry about that long tangent there, I'm going to walk you through, Guthrie, the pediatric MRI. So the first thing that we do is we're going to map out the steps that this child, let's say her name is Zoe, has to go through as she prepares and then does the MRI. And so the process that this team mapped out was the first step that Zoe does is she goes to her physician, who then recommends that she get the MRI. So the first thing is a Post-it note. It would say, you'd put it up on the piece of paper. It would say, go to a doctor, get the prescription for the MRI. The next thing that the team wrote down, the next Post-it note going to the right of that says, riding to the hospital with mom. The next step was checking in at the hospital. The next one was walking to the MRI room. The next one is sees the MRI machine. The next one is starts crying and resists the being put in the machine. The next one was seeing the doctor enter. The next one is get a shot, which was to calm her down, I think. Or no, maybe it's a shot. No, it might be a shot to see the color in the MRI. I don't know. Anyway, the last one is goes through the MRI. So the first thing you do then is map out. That's the process. Those are the steps.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the next thing that you map out then is you map out the people that are involved at each step along the way. So we've got this row of Post-it notes that says all that. Underneath that, we put another row of Post-it notes that says people. And, for instance, when she goes to see her doctor, who's involved in that? Okay, it's the doctor and other people at the clinic. When she rides to the hospital, who's involved in that? That's her mom. When she checks in, who's involved in that? Well, there's a check-in nurse, right? So you kind of write down the people that are involved along the way. So that's another row in your map. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Underneath that, you put another row, which is the things that are involved. Like when late in the process when they are giving her the shot, then what's involved is a needle and the shot and the drugs, right? When she's checking in, there's a chart that gets printed out and so on. So you map out any things that are involved. And again, you're tying that, you put it on the timeline so it fits with the step of the process that's involved. So we've now got the steps, we've got the people, we've got the things. By the way, the best way to do that is to have a lot of different color Post-it notes and use a color for each row. So there's the example I'm sharing with you, for instance, the steps would be green, the people would be pink, the things would be blue, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So do you have a question?
Well, yeah,
Should I keep
yeah.
going, or-
I mean, my question is sort of like, here's my problem with journey maps.
Okay, I haven't even finished, but go ahead.
Well, maybe you can help. Maybe you'll be able to tie in the second half.
Okay.
Because I
go
said,
ahead.
just look at a picture of a journey map, you'll figure it out. And you're like, well, you can't, because you can't understand what you're looking at.
Well, I'm giving
Isn't that
okay,
a problem
I'm giving you,
with a journey map?
I'm giving you an example of a journey map that's actually pretty clear. But there are other journey maps where if you weren't involved in creating that journey map, you won't be able to explain at all what the heck you're looking at. They're really, I'm looking at one right now that is very complicated. It's not done the way I just described. It's got circular things and boxes and cloud diagrams and triangles, and it's got a legend, but it's just so complicated that I couldn't figure it out. But here's the thing, okay, and this depends, I think, on your philosophy of journey maps, because I believe, and the other people probably don't agree with me, I believe the purpose of doing a journey map is not to create a beautiful picture that you then show to other people. I believe a journey map is about the work the team does to decide on what is the process that's happening now, where are the problem points in that, what should the process be. And then if based on that they want to come away with insights that they share with other people, they can certainly do that. Or, what they may need to do is do a different version of the final journey map, a simplified version that will make sense to other people. But so I'm not saying that you should end up with a journey map that doesn't make sense. I'm just saying that sometimes the people who work on these, it's so complicated, and they love the picture and they love the image and it makes sense to them, that they want to preserve that complicated journey map. I hope they don't make the mistake of necessarily, trying to get everyone else in the organization to understand that. I don't know if Dana's voting maps were are the original, and maybe she has a more complicated version that she didn't show us in the talk because it's too complicated. I don't know. I just know when I've done journey maps, I first try and do them so that they make sense to the team that's doing it, and then we come up with, if necessary, a simplified version that we can share with others. Now, there's nothing to say that you can't do a simple journey map that you can share, like the one I'm describing to you about the MRI. It's not complicated, and you can understand it even if you don't work in a pediatric department. So, did that answer your question or not?
Yeah, it did. And I think that's one of the challenges with journey maps. Is
the complicated visual nature?
It is a problem, and it's sort of like, it's so, in some ways it's so antithetical. What's that word?
Yeah, it is antithetical.
Antithetical.
But antithetical is an interesting word.
I like antithetical. No, it's antithetical to the whole idea of UX. It's like,
why?
We're going to create a product that's completely useless to anyone unless you know everything, all the information already. And if you know all the information, then it will make sense.
Okay.
But otherwise,
I am so glad you brought this up. This is related to two other really important topics in the field of UX. Mm-hmm. Did you know that you just hit on a really important thing?
I'm brilliant, so yeah. Sure,
well, you are. Okay, so here are two really important aspects of doing UX work. One is that people complain about all the documentation that UX people create, and that we create too much, and it's too complicated, and no one understands it. And therefore, according to some people you might talk to, we shouldn't be doing this stuff. Just stop. It's not worth it. It takes too long. It's too complicated. You're overloading us with documentation. It's not necessary. Let's do it in a streamlined way. And so I don't agree with that.
No, so I agree with you. I think I don't agree with that either. But what I think has to, so it doesn't, it's sort of like a black box mentality. A lot of stuff that UXers do is complicated and makes no sense to anyone else. Like,
Yes.
like some of the crazy
Yes.
user testing stuff and just like really in the weeds.
there are many things.
But that's
All right.
fine. If I'm an engineer, it doesn't, you're telling stuff
You
to the
don't-
UX, you don't understand. But what you have to
Right.
do is the finished product should be able to communicate to other people the ideas and insights that you've gathered. And I think if you create a journey map
Yes.
that is incapable of doing that, that itself is not the finished document. You need to go another step.
I will agree with you on that, because what you're essentially saying is you've created an unusable document. You've created a document that has a poor user experience because no one can understand it. But the other thing I want to say, we're in agreement on that. But the other thing that I think is really important about that thing you said a few minutes ago is that a lot of times people who are not in the field of UX or don't do the work or haven't done the work, I don't think they realize that a lot of the stuff we do is not for anyone else. It's part of the stuff we need to do so that we can understand what's going on and what the problem is. And I agree with you that if you have insights coming out of that you want to share with someone, you need to share that in a way that's understandable. But sometimes I think it can be a mistake to do some of these things that we do in UX, like journey maps, like task analysis, like object action maps, whatever it is we're creating. Sometimes it's a mistake to think that the UX people are doing that in order, and then they will share it. Then they're doing it so that they can share things with others. Sometimes you are doing this stuff because you need to do it. Because you need to, in order for you to design something usable, there's some things you need to know and understand, and you don't know them, and so you do this technique, whatever it is, in order to understand it. And I think there is maybe a misunderstanding that, the things we do are so simple that, of course, we can just do them, and then we just share what happened, and everybody understands. It's like, no, I agree with you. There often is this other step. And I don't think we should do the stuff we do and be hampered by the thought that, well, I can't do the journey map this way because no one else will understand it. If this is the way that's best for you to do the journey map, to do your work, do it that way, and then do the extra Guthrie Weinschenk step and create a version find a way to share your important insights. But I think we make a mistake if we feel that every summary of what we have learned has to be in a format that others can grasp. Some work that we do is for us or the team, and then we can decide what to translate and share with others. And maybe other people don't agree with me. We might hear back from people on this. I don't know.
Right. So.
Well, that was an interesting tangent.
Well, I was,
I thought it was interesting.
Well, I think the biggest problem that journey maps face, and economics faces this too, in some ways.
Yeah.
Is that you're mapping multiple dimensions into 2 dimensions. And every time you do that, it's not going to work.
It's not.
So
it's not gonna
the
be
worst
easy,
with journey maps is there's a path that someone's taking, and there are like tasks they need to complete, but then also there's almost always a time dimension, and things are going chronologically, and you're trying to represent that all in 2 dimensions, and it's a bad idea. What needs to happen, there just needs to be software where you can create a journey map and then move through it step by step as an animation, so that you can follow the journey.
It's a great idea.
Yeah, because you're journeying in 2 dimensions, but then you're also moving through time. So you have to have a way to represent.
I love this. So Guthrie, you're gonna create this, right? I'm always telling you I want you to create software and apps.
Yeah.
And you always say,
no, I'm not gonna do it. Yeah.
But that would be a great. I love that.
Yeah, no, I mean that's what you need, and then it would make a lot of sense.
Can I finish my journey map description?
Yeah,
though?
go ahead. I'm done. That's it. I'm all good.
That's it. That's all you have to
That's it.
say.
That's all I have to say.
Well, if you think of other things, just let me know. All right. When we left off,
Yes.
Zoe we had her journey. We had the people. We had the things. You remember that?
Yes.
Okay. Now we're going to add on to it. Actually, and those things in this journey map I'm looking at, there's the steps, and then underneath that are the people, underneath that and the things. But now we're going to go above the steps, and we're going to do thoughts and feelings. So now we map out what Zoe is thinking and what she's feeling as she goes through the steps. So, there's a place where she's really nervous, where she thinks something looks scary, where, she's saying, no, I don't want to do this, and so on. So that's thoughts and feelings. And then in this particular journey map, they kind of did an interesting thing. The people and the things, they broke that up. They did that twice, and they called one of them on stage and one of them backstage. So there were the people on stage and the things on stage, meaning the people and the things that Zoe actually interacted with. But then they had another layer of people and things which were people and things that were going on in the background that Zoe might not necessarily notice. Like there's the patient record system, there's an imaging tech that is actually in another room, that kind of thing. So we ended up with 6 lanes. The steps, the thoughts and feelings, the on-stage people and things, and the off-stage people and things. So then what this team did, and what you would do, is you'd go through and you'd note the places that are problems. Like the crying and resisting is a problem. What are the steps that are a problem? Why are they a problem? Why are they a problem for Zoe? Why are they a problem for the hospital? And then you would go through and figure out, okay, so what can we do with those steps? How could we change this process to fix? And in this case, their big question was, how do we manage fear? That was the big question that came out of it. And then they came up with a plan, and then you can redo the map now with changes to not only the steps, but changes to the people, changes to the things that you would want to do in order to solve the places that are problems. So you can have a current state journey map then, here's how it is now, and then from that you can work on a future state, here's how we should redo this in order to take care of the problems. So that's what a journey map is. And then, as I said, in this case, this one isn't too complicated, and I might even be looking at an example of what they did after they made it easier. I'm not sure. So, it's by the way, journey maps are very popular. There is no one way to do them. There's no one way to do the process. There's no one way to do the illustration. People have all kinds of ways. There's no one set of, who should be in on it. But I will say you want to avoid doing a journey map when you don't have anybody there who has really either been through the journey or has interviewed people who have been through the journey. You don't want to sit around and imagine what you think the journey is. That's when you get like the state of California's version of how people vote that's not accurate, right? So you need to do a journey map if you're really going to dig into where are the problems and how can we fix them. You need to have people there who either are the ones who have gone through the process and or have done, have observed the process and interviewed people.
Well, it's a fun way just to force you to see things from the user's perspective.
Yeah, I mean, the things that I think the things that make journey maps unique, perhaps as compared with other tools that we use, are one of the things is that you, seeing things from forcing yourself to see things from the user or the customer perspective. I mean, that's something that hopefully we do a lot in UX. But yes, you're right. It does kind of force you to do that. It also is a really great way to take into account not just the steps, but everything around the steps, like the people and the things and the thoughts and the feelings. I think sometimes we don't do enough of that. We'll be doing a detailed task analysis, but perhaps we're not looking at enough at, the artifacts that people are using, the situation, how they're thinking and feeling. So I think it forces that as well, and I think that can be, that's a kind of a unique part of it. And then the other thing I think it does, really well, and one of the reasons it's not just used in UX, but it's also used in, service design and design thinking and other processes, is that you can do this. A lot of times when we're working on UX, we're working on people's interactions with a digital product. Mm-hmm. And you can do a journey map. In fact, I think probably most journey maps are done about people going on a journey that may only partially or peripherally involve a digital product. It's the things that they're doing. It's the phone calls they're making. It's the places they're going. It's the conversations that they're having. And, that's really important. I think sometimes in UX work we get so narrowly focused on, the part of the process that has to do with the design of the digital thing, right? Or the design of this one device. And this really zooms you out. And although there might be a digital device that people are interacting with in this journey map, you're looking at it in a much larger context. And I think that's really helpful. You need to understand that by the time someone pulls out their phone and uses that app, there are 5 things that have happened before that it might have gone well or not, and it might affect how they're feeling about using this app, and there might be 5 things that happen afterwards that affect their use and feeling of the app, even though those 5 things before and after don't have to do with using the app. Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course it makes sense.
Yeah. So Guthrie, does this make you want to go do a journey map?
I got nothing, a journey map. I'm doing pretty good.
I'm sure that you could have something to journey map.
Yeah, maybe.
I mean, I'm going to have to see if we can get a journey mapping project for you to try out.
Sure. That would be fun.
I think that we should do that so you can try this out. All right. Well, if people have ideas about other topics like this that they would like us to cover, like other UX tools, we probably are going to do some more UX tool episodes. I hope you don't mind, Guthrie. It's just that having taught this class, this is all like top of mind for me. And in fact, we're doing so much. I'm recording all these videos for new classes we have coming out. We have a slew of new classes coming out shortly. And so I have all the stuff on my brain. So probably I'm going to want to do podcast episodes about all the stuff because it's fun. I love this UX stuff.
There you go.
Guthrie, some things that I would like to remind people of before we're done.
Yeah.
And I always hesitate to do this because, I'm going to talk about stuff coming up, but then if people listen to it later, that time has gone past. But I'm still going to do it, hoping that we catch some people. You and I are going to be at UXPA this year.
Oh,
this
yeah.
is 2019, and we're recording this podcast in April, and the conference is coming up in June 2019, Scottsdale, Arizona, UXPA, UX Professional Association Conference. And I haven't been in years. I used to go all the time. And we're both giving a talk, right? And then we're also teaching our behavioral design workshop the pre-conference workshop. And so if any of you guys are listening and you're thinking of going, or you weren't thinking of going, I highly recommend you consider it. It's a really fun conference, and if you do go, I hope you'll sign up for our workshop, and we will see you there. They do still have some spots open for our workshop. And then we in another episode, we'll talk, as we get closer to releasing these new courses, we'll talk more about the new courses. I am really excited about them. I think they're, I don't know. I've enjoyed recording them, so I hope people enjoy learning from them. Guthrie, if people want to reach us, how do they do that?
Info.
You have to think about
at theteamw.com.
Info at theteamw.com. And subscribe to our podcast. That would be great. Anything else you're going to add, Guthrie? Can you think of anything else? No?
I had someone reach out to me said they listened to the podcast, so thanks for that.
There's one person listening?
No. People mention it all the time, but just yesterday there was someone. There's people, like, if I see in person, they'll tell me, but there's actually someone who messaged me.
Who wrote in, who messaged you to tell you.
Yeah,
That's great.
Yeah, I thought that was nice.
Yeah, it's so weird with podcasts because you really don't have any idea, like, who's listening.
And we don't. We don't podcast. And we don't
stats.
podcast a lot anymore. We're
going to get back at it.
I don't know. There are so many podcasts, and we don't get paid for this. We have no ads. It just eats up our server space.
But we like it.
No, of course we like it. Yeah, absolutely.
And I hope people like listening to it. I think it's good to be regular in the episode. I'm the one that's always like, we need to record a podcast, and I certainly have a long list of ideas, so it's not like we don't have anything to talk about, but we have been really busy, and sometimes when we get busy, that's hard. And then I had that I had that cough for a month, and we couldn't record anything. So I was coughing. So if you're wondering where we've been, you didn't want to hear me while I was coughing. So and the cough is gone. Yay. All right, Guthrie, I've had a lot of fun talking about journey maps, and I will talk to you next time.
All right, I'm going to go watch the NBA playoffs. That's what I'm going to do.
Go do that. Bye.
Bye.